Most people do not like selling. They do not like selling. But I did realize most people love to be of service. And so I came up with this program. It was called It's Not Selling, It's Serving. Because the word sell is actually from the Germanic word seli, which means to serve. Little known fact. You can use that factoid. And it's something you do for somebody, not to them. For somebody, not to them. And when you change that mindset, everything changes. Because in a true process of selling, from my opinion, and I've sold, just so you know, in my career, and I'm just telling you this not to brag, but to give you a background, millions of dollars in coaching. And the beginning of my career, I was horrible at it. Because I was taught a way that was a process to do something to somebody. Manipulate them, intimidate them, many, many years ago. Old school selling. You know, it's like going on the old car lot. And as I got through my career, I realized if I could start asking the right questions, I could remove the resistance that all of you have when you feel like something's being done to you. What do you do when you feel like somebody's trying to sell you something? What's the first thing you do? Yeah, I see the hands. I see the hands. But when you have somebody that shows up and says, how can I be of service to you? Asking the right questions, then it's different. Remember, it's an exchange of energy and information. So when clients come to me, I'm asking questions. First of all, I'm seeing if I can help them. If I can't help them, I just tell them, I can't help you, there might be a better fit. But I want to first remove any resistance between us so I can present what I have. This is really important, so they can say yes or no. See, some of your clients right now are saying no because there's still resistance. They're not even hearing you. That book that I told you about earlier, Presence, by Amy Cuddy, she also does some research that, once again, I've been coaching a long time for the coaches it gave me, is that people really don't even care to begin with what your background is. This is another Harvard piece of research. The first thing they're doing is saying, can I trust you? Oh, you're from Harvard, no, can I trust you? But what a lot of people do in the sales process, they show up with their resume, or their big watch, or all the business they did. I'm not saying any of that's wrong, I'm just saying what the research shows. So you want to be able to create trust and rapport in that sales process. And so when you think, how can I serve this client? That might mean a deal or not, or maybe it's a referral. Pat is awesome at this. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about working with him, because the way he goes about it, I mean, he already had this, but it's that being of service. That means if I meet you, I'm thinking, what can I be of service to you? I'm going to present what opportunities I have, but I'm thinking service first, give first. Once again, all the research, even on this, will show you that there's a better result when you give first. Robert Cialdini, the Influence book. If you haven't read that book, get that book. Well, it's the Bible. He's a researcher at University of Arizona. It's the Bible on influence. But it all comes from, how can I help? So if you go out into the world and think about, how can I help? And your job is not to get them to say yes. This is so counterintuitive for a lot of people. It's to remove resistance, create an opportunity, and if it's the right opportunity, they will say yes. If it's not, a lot of people are afraid of no. I love no's. I love them. I love it. Because now I can move on to somebody I can help. Now I can move on to somebody I can help. But if, it doesn't mean if they don't give me an objection, then I'm going to handle it. Of course I'm going to do all that. I'm going to work my butt off, because their objection is a blind spot. Remember I talked about blind spots and about the sales process? I asked early on, I said, has anyone presented a deal in this room where it was just like a no-brainer? Like it was actually the right thing to do, it was such benefit, and they passed. How many put their hands up? Yeah, the whole room. Why do you think that is? It makes sense, it's the right deal, and it's a no. It's a blind spot, it's a rapport issue, it's fear inside of them. So my process is just to get you founded from a concept of being of service. This is not a sales training, but just get your mindset, because I'm going to go into time compression for sales right here and now. And I'm going to give you a case study of a client of mine who's in the real estate profession. And as I was developing the time compression formula for sales, he was one of my first real awesome success stories. And as a matter of fact, it started about 3 years ago when I said to him, when he came to me, and he said, Stephen, I'm in trouble. He was kind of hiding his sales report. He's a big-time real estate guy in Brentwood. I can tell the story because I have permission to tell his story. And he came to me, and he was in trouble. He was kind of holding back, like, what was going on. He had some medical issues. He had some challenges there. So one of the things that I uncovered is, I said, what's the belief of how long a sale takes? So remember we talk about beliefs? You all have a belief on how long a sale takes. A sale can happen instantly. Instantly. If you are thinking a sale takes any time, your mind is already in a blind spot. Now, is there a sales process? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to give you an example, and it's my example of my blind spot. So one of the first events I did for time compression, as I was still putting the formula together, it was about a year plus or so, year and a half, and I went out to the coaching clients that I had in my network, you know, into my basic list, and then I was texting a few people that I hadn't talked to in a while, and man, this was embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you. I sent him a text, said, I have this event, it's time compression formula, I thought about you and your business, okay? Sent the text, put the phone down, and you know you have an auto set on your phone where if someone texts you, you can hit it and it says, I'll call you right back. Do you guys know that? Yeah, I didn't know that. I have some entertainment clients, and I was like, wow, he's really responsive. My friend said, my assistant said, no, he's not. See this feature? My assistant's like 20. He's like, you see this feature? I'm like, what's that feature? It's a auto response. I'll call you right back. I'm like, wow, that goes exactly with this guy. So I picked the phone up, and I thought it was the auto response, right? This is what it said. Me and my team will be there. I'm going to tell you this again. I sent the text, I put the phone down, I turned, and it was a short, it only took the time for him to read it. It wasn't even the sales copy. It's for just what you heard, getting more back time, more productivity, accelerating your sales. I'll be there. So then I thought, this is really funny. I go, did he read my text? Now think about this. Because I thought to myself, there's no way he could say yes like that. This is new. But here's the thing. I already coached him. I already worked with him. And so when he read that, he said, this is exactly what my team needs. Charles Pence has a company in Brentwood. And Charles has sold $3 billion in home sales in his career. He has been in the industry over 25 years. He's been to every coaching program in the country, including Tony Robbins. And been coaching him for a while, but I hadn't really worked this new technology on him. So he came to me, he said, Stephen, I'm in trouble. I'm having a difficult time. I'm way behind my sales goal. He had an injury, had some personal things. It was 6 months into the year, and those in the real estate industry know December, it's a little dicey. Right here's a little dicey for sales. And he said, man, I'm like 80% behind on my projection. What am I going to do? I said, Charles, you got to compress time, buddy. Kind of looked at me and goes, what's that? He said, we've got to take what you normally do in 6 or 8 months, and we've got to compress that. And this is when we started talking about how long a sale takes. So I asked him some questions, which we're going to go through this process. So I started asking him this question. Well, how many deals have you ever done in a week? And he told me 2 or 3. He told me what the number is. And then I moved it out to like this. So what's your biggest year? And at the time, I think he might have done 70 or 80, maybe 90 million a year in sales, which is a good producer at the time, a couple years ago, and it still is. So here's what I asked him. I said, here's 12 months. You did 80 million. Could you do those deals in 8 months? Not how, could you? And he started, well, but I'd have to, and he started giving me all the, I go, just stop it right now. Stop it. He goes, I could. Awesome. Could you do it in 6? Now he was starting up, well, yeah, I could. Could you do it in 4? Yes. Could you do it in 2? Yes. Could you do it in 1? Yes. Could you do it in 2 weeks? No. Great. Great. I got it. You can't do $80 million in sales in 2 weeks. He actually could, but that's where his... Now look at the difference. I just asked him if he could. That means 12 months of production. He basically said I could do it in 30 days. So here's what we did. First thing I asked him is basically what I just asked you about, how long does a sale take? And I started breaking down his beliefs on sales. He's like, yeah, I've done 3 or 4 deals in a week. I go, could you put 4 weeks together? He's like, yeah, I could do that. So we shifted his belief about time production. But then here's the magic. We pulled out the old time cleanse on him. And it was literally like bottles. I feel like I gave him a juice cleanse that day. He said, well, what are you doing every day? And man, this guy is a social guy of all. He's like the mayor of Brentwood. He's got an office right on the corner on Montana. Super kind, big heart guy. And man, he's just like handing out candy and, he's got like a pet dog out there and he loves to talk to people. I said, well, if we're going to compress time, what are you going to have to start getting rid of? So what we're going to go through today is he looked at all his activities. Now, mind you, I've been coaching him for a couple of years, so I know his activities. It's this. And so we started looking at all his activities. And we started getting rid of the bullshit, the bloat, the backed up stuff that he didn't need anymore. And what he knew was this. He has a team, and he knew this. I got to make 10 contact calls a day. So in his industry, he's got his Rolodex, he's got a lot of people he's worked, got to make 10 calls. And I've got to do that every day, but really what I need to do is 10 to 20. So he immediately started doing that. But the biggest thing was this. I had him get the sales chart for his area. I said, bring me last month. Sometimes you got to bring out the big stick. I go, bring me what happened the last month in your area. Now he's not limited to his direct area. He can go up into Malibu and other areas. I go, show him how many deals got done. So let's just say there was, in that month, 50 transactions. And in the real estate, you got 2 sides, right? That's 100 places he could be on a deal. Buy, seller could have both. You follow me? Got it?
Got it.
I said, Charles, how many do you need? So he gave me the calculation. Now he really got it. I said, because they're actually out there. You're showing me a report that is telling me and you those sales are out there. I'm going to ask everyone in here, on the other side of these doors, is there a bathroom out there? Is there?
Yes.
Can you see it right now?
No.
How do you know it's there?
It's in there.
That's what I just did. Are there people out there for you to sell your stuff to?
Yes.
Are they there?
Yes.
Do you know they're there?
Yes.
You're right. So why do people go, oh, where are my sales going to come from? I'm like, are there houses out there? So now I'm like, he's drinking the Kool-Aid. Because this is what we got to do. We got to believe what's possible. So he starts on his plan, starts calling, and starts getting rid of all the bloat. He's getting his team focused. And every week, he shows up with another deal. And here's the end result. In 30 days, he did 9 deals for about approximately, I think it was $55 or $60 million. It was in 28 days. The rest of the year, he did another, because he was way behind, probably another 15 or 20. He ended up at like 105 or 110. And I share this story because it's very important. Is that here's a guy that was actually doing very well. Doing very well. But he had a limited belief on how much time something took, and he was in a blind spot with all these activities. All these activities. So when we put a different belief out there, which I'm going to take you through all through this, and get clear where you should be putting your time, you accelerate the process. He literally came in every week. I usually see my clients twice a month, but on this time compression, I was seeing him every week. He would come in with his book, and for him, we have a big, I like the big sketch pads, because you can kind of draw things out. And there was like 2 more deals. And he was like a little kid. He was like laughing. He's like, I can't believe this happened. I go, stop saying that. It's happening. And then the next week. And then when he finally came in with his numbers, he was just like, he actually said to me, I don't know how this happened. So after, I was like screaming at him, because what do? We're going back into our blind spot. How did this happen? It's magic. It's not magic. It's what you do with your time. And so he's been successful and continues to crush it in that. But it all started with, what's my belief on how long a sale takes? Where am I wasting time doing a time cleanse? And then put focus, deliberate practice in place. Okay, so right now, I want you to write down your biggest year you've done. You can write it down or have it in your head, whatever is your biggest year you have personally done or your team has done. And if you haven't, or if you just started and you're not sure, put out the number you projected, and then we're going to do this process real quick with this. Okay. It's called Is It Possible? I'm going to say it, I want you to repeat it to me. Repeat, is it possible? Is it possible?
Is it possible?
Okay, come on. We're talking about money. Is it possible?
Is it possible?
Thank you, that was better. Could you do it in 8 months? That number, is it possible to do those sales in 8 months? Give me a yes or a no. Raise your hand if it's a yes. Is it possible? Not how am I going to do it. Is it possible? Let me see your hands. Okay, great. Is it possible to do it in 6 months? Raise your hands. Hands, 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 hands. Okay, great. Who thinks they could do it in 1 month? Could do it in 1 month? 1 month? 1 month? 1 month? Who thinks they can't do it in 1 month? Raise your hand. Do it. Over here. Let's get the mic over here. By the way, there is at some point going to be a limit, but we just want to test out the beliefs. Go ahead.
Okay, so probably the same thing with Jack, the underwriting I can't control.
Okay.
To some extent, and the number's so big, I think, to try to do that in 1 month. Mine was to do $500,000 of NADA commissions, so
right.
basically my rep's under 4 years. To try to do that in 1 month, I would have to already have that business probably already in underwriting, which we don't, so.
Right, so but basically I'm saying, as you move out there, not what's in the pipeline,
Yeah.
but thinking about what are the strategies I could put to actually do that. Because what I'm doing is I'm shattering the ceiling. So what if you could do that, possible, what would you have to do in your business for it?
Yeah, well, Jack said we have to hire about 20 more people, but no, I mean, probably.
Well, hold on, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Could you make your team more efficient?
Sure.
So forget about hiring more people. You can do that,
Yeah.
but they could compress time and they could be more efficient.
They could be more efficient and also, working more in the premium finance space.
Gotcha.
Obviously, if, that could obviously happen in one case.
Stop right there. What did he just say? It is possible that could happen with one case, but he's the guy, awesome and honest. I don't think it can happen. It can happen. All I'm trying to do here, we got a few minutes on this, is just to go, what is your mind thinking? Because that's the energy and vibration that's happening out in the world. And I'm really I'm saying, like, could you do it in a month? Who's walking up to you and go, can you do your whole year in a month? And tell me why you can't. I'm pushing you to see where you get hung up. just like I was hung up. There's no way I could send a text and 0.7 seconds back someone says yes. Oh yeah, they can. You create your future from your future, not your past. Werner Erhard, founder of EST. What that basically is telling each and every one of you in this room about this process on the sales. What you think you can do on your sales is all based on your past. Is there knowledge in the past? Is there wisdom in the past? Absolutely. But it's also this thing called your best performance, your best past performance syndrome. You think, I've only been able to perform this way, so how can I get that back to that? A lot of people want to get back to what they used to do. That is a disaster. That's why I'm breaking the system open for you and start thinking, I'm creating the future from right now.